The Saturday Swindle, Part 2. In the 4th century CE, the ancient Sabbath was supplanted by Saturday through a change in calendars. The true Sabbath of Scripture was lost. Hillel II, the priestly politician. Constantine the Great, emperor of the Roman Imperium, united pagans and Christians by exalting Sunday as a day of worship for them both. He shifted the memorial of the Savior's death from being commemorated at Passover on the biblical calendar to celebrating Easter Sunday on the Julian calendar. Constantine's son, Constantius, went one step further. He outlawed the use of the biblical calendar for Jews as well. In subsequent years, the Jews went through iron and fire. The Christian emperors forbade the Jewish computation of the calendar and did not allow the announcement of the feast days. Graetz says, the Jewish communities were left in utter doubt concerning the most important religious decisions as pertaining to their festivals. The immediate consequence was the fixation and calculation of the Hebrew calendar by Hillel II. As Constantine was the power behind an action that ultimately led to the loss of the biblical calendar for use by Christians, so another man, a Jew, was responsible for a reaction producing consequences just as far-reaching. Hillel II, the president of the Sanhedrin, adapted the annual feasts to the Julian calendar. He also transferred worship from the biblical Sabbath to the Saturday of the planetary week. Prior to the destruction of Jerusalem, the high priest had been in charge of the calendar, while the Sanhedrin, rabbinical Supreme Court, presided in Jerusalem. There was no set calendar. They would evaluate every year to determine whether it should be declared a leap year. This task fell to the president of the Sanhedrin when the priesthood was no more. Under the reign of Constantius, 337 to 362 CE, the persecutions of the Jews reached such a height that the computation of the calendar was forbidden under pain of severe punishment. In reaction to this situation, Hillel II, in 359 CE, took the extraordinary step of modifying the ancient biblical calendar that Jews and Christians might more easily coexist. Declaring the new month by observation of the new moon and the new year by the arrival of spring can only be done by the Sanhedrin. In the time of Hillel II, the last president of the Sanhedrin, the Romans prohibited this practice. Hillel II was therefore forced to institute his fixed calendar, thus in effect giving the Sanhedrin's advance approval to the calendars of all future years. With Hillel's new calendar system, distant communities would no longer have to wait for messengers from the president of the Sanhedrin to know when a new month had started. Each community would be able to determine for themselves when a new month began and when a 13th month was to be added. When Hillel II fixed the calendar, he incorporated leap years on a permanent basis. It is possible, but not provable, that this particular cycle of leap years was used and understood prior to Hillel, as it follows the 19-year Metonic cycle. Hillel based his calendar on mathematical and astronomical calculations rather than observations. This calendar, still in use, standardized the length of months and the addition of months over the course of a 19-year cycle so that the lunar calendar realigns with the solar years. Hillel declared a 13th month to be intercalated in the 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th, and the 19th years of the 19-year cycle. But Hillel did more than make known a 19-year cycle of intercalations that was, in all probability, used all along. He also transferred the observance of the ancient Sabbath from the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th days of the lunar month to every Saturday of the Julian months. This change necessitated another: rules of postponement. Rules of postponement are a set of regulations for controlling when the new moon can be declared. Under certain conditions, the rules of postponement delay the declaration of new moon for an additional day. These rules of postponement are: 1. The Jewish New Year, Feast of Trumpets, may not fall on Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday. 2. If the new moon, or molad, for the 7th month falls on Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday, the new moon is postponed until the following day. 3. If the molad of the 7th month in a common year occurs on Tuesday at 3 a.m. and 2:04/1080 parts or later, the new moon is postponed until Thursday. 4. In a common year following a leap year, if the molad of the 7th month occurs after 9 a.m. and 589/1080 parts on a Monday morning, new moon is postponed until Tuesday. The change of the weekly Sabbath from the lunisolar calendar to Saturday is clearly implied by the needed rules of postponement which, prior to Hillel's fixing of the calendar, had been unnecessary. According to the Jews themselves, the new moon is still, and the Sabbath originally was, dependent upon the lunar cycle. When both the Sabbath and the annual feasts are calculated on the lunisolar calendar, rules of postponement are unnecessary. It is only when the yearly feasts are calculated by one calendar and the weekly Sabbath is calculated by yet another, there are conflicts requiring rules of postponement. Without the rules of postponement, the annual feasts come into conflict with Saturday. For example, if Feast of Trumpets, new moon for the 7th month, were to fall on a Sunday, the last day of Feast of Tabernacles would fall on a Saturday. This would conflict with the traditional observance for the last day of the feast, hence the need for the first and second rules of postponement. The third rule of postponement ensures the common year in question would not be longer than 355 days. The fourth rule of postponement guarantees a common year following a leap year is not shorter than 383 days. This fixed calendar is highly regimented. There are exactly 14 different patterns that the Hebrew calendar year may take, distinguished by the length of the year and the day of the week on which Rosh Hashanah falls. Because the rules are complex, a pattern can repeat itself several times in the course of a few years and then not recur again for a long time. But the Jewish calendar is known to be extremely accurate. It does not lose or gain time as some other calendars do. This was an act of survival by Hillel II. It was made in response to the brutal persecutions of Constantine's son Constantius. With his own hand, the patriarch destroyed the last bond which united the communities dispersed throughout the Roman and Persian empires with the patriarchate. He was more concerned for the certainty of the continuance of Judaism than for the dignity of his own house, and therefore abandoned those functions for which his ancestors had been so jealous and solicitous. The members of the Sanhedrin favored this innovation. When Hillel II fixed the calendar, he effectually gave permission to the Jews to worship on Saturday for all future time. Only he, as president of the Sanhedrin, could do this. Today, over 1600 years later, the action of Constantine and its resulting reaction by Hillel II are still impacting hundreds of millions of people around the world. Because of these two men, 1. Catholics worship on Sunday in honor of the resurrection. This is in accordance with the act of Constantine, which changed the observance from a luni-solar calculated Passover to the pagan solar calculated Easter. 2. Jews worship on Saturday because Talmudic law justifies the act of keeping one day in 7 when one does not know when the true Sabbath falls. 3. Most Protestants join with Catholics in worshiping on Sunday, the first day of the modern Gregorian week, assuming it is the day of the resurrection. 4. Saturday Sabbath-keeping Protestants worship on Saturday because it is the seventh day of the modern week, and they assume, since the Jews worship on Saturday, it must be the biblical Sabbath. 5. Muslims, likewise, honor the pagan papal Gregorian calendar keeping by going to mosque for prayers on Friday. It is not possible to find the true seventh-day Sabbath using the modern Gregorian calendar. This solar calendar is nothing more than a pagan method of time calculation. The early Julian calendar was established by pagans for pagans. It was officially adopted for ecclesiastical use at the Council of Nicaea. It was later adjusted by Jesuit astronomer Christopher Clavius at the request of Pope Gregory XIII, hence the name Gregorian calendar. Clavius confirmed the Julian calendar, and thus the Gregorian calendar that comes from it, is founded on paganism and has no connection whatsoever to the biblical calendar. In his explanation of the Gregorian calendar, Clavius admitted when the Julian calendar was accepted as the ecclesiastical calendar of the Church, the biblical calendar was rejected. The Catholic Church has never used that Jewish rite of celebrating the Passover, but always in its celebration has observed the motion of the moon and sun, and it was thus sanctified by the most ancient and most holy pontiffs of Rome, but also confirmed by the First Council of Nicaea. The most ancient and most holy pontiffs of Rome, here spoken of, refer to the pagan college of pontiffs of which Constantine, as Pontifex Maximus, was the head. Emperor Constantine desired unity. He achieved this goal through ecumenism and outlawing the use of the biblical calendar for remembering the death of Yahshua. Hillel II desired the physical survival of Judaism. He achieved his goal by compromising with paganism and modifying the biblical calendar. Constantine's action and its accompanying reaction by Hillel has led to the assumption by multitudes that Saturday is the biblical Sabbath and Sunday is the day on which the Savior was resurrected. Thus, Christians and Jews alike have calculated their worship days using pagan solar calendars, neglecting the true Sabbath of Yahweh. None who desire to worship the Creator on His holy Sabbath will calculate worship days by this abomination of desolation that dishonors Yahweh and desolates the soul. Only the lunisolar calendar of creation can pinpoint when the true Sabbath occurs. Lay aside the traditions of man. Accept only the word of Yah. And worship Him by His ordained method of timekeeping.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. If I can be heard, give me a Yahoo up in the chat. Bless up to the family. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Creator, Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahweh. You know, however you get on. All praises to the Most High, the Creator. Good to see you, brothers and sisters, in the building. Bless up. May the light of the Creator shine on all you brothers and sisters and be established within the heart, mind, body, and souls of all you brothers and sisters. Bless up. Bless up. Well, you know, your bro back, you know, a lot of controversy, but you know, it's good. It keeps us sharp. It keeps us thinking, and it challenges us on this path of truth that we are. You know what I mean? You got to get challenged. Right? If you ain't challenged, iron sharpen iron, right? So if you ain't challenged, then you won't be sharp. You'll be dull. You dig? Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Love y'all indeed in the truth. You dig? Even the haters, jaw jackers, and naysayers. Shout out to the haters, jaw jackers, and naysayers. Good thing to have haters and enemies at times, y'all. Keep you on your feet. Keep you on your toes. You dig? Good to see y'all in the building. I see y'all. NehemiYAH Zion. Yahoo. Bless up. Max Low. Would you say you had to download that real quick? Yeah, that's Hillel II and the Saturday Sabbath deception. Compelling stuff in there, man. You dig? Compelling things, you dig? But what I found out is when you start shining light in an area where people love the darkness, they tend to lash out. So, you know, shine your light, let your light shine, but understand the repercussions and the fall back behind it. You dig? But if you focus on the reward, you know, they might as well put that little shit up. You understand? You better off spitting at an elephant than trying to, you know, demean and talk bad and shame the brothers and sisters who have dedicated their life to truth. You understand? And understand truth is an ever-evolving, growing thing. You understand? If you call yourself in any type of truth, but you settled and comfortable and you know, you even declining, you ain't growing no more. You understand? Growth symbolizes life. So you should be growing. You should be challenging the things you believed 5 years ago, making sure it still line up with today. Make sure it still lines up with, you know, the experiences you can have within the past 5 years. What if what you believe doesn't line up with the experience? You understand? The Most High gave you the experience for a reason, to learn more about Him and more about yourself. So there's nothing wrong with challenging. This doesn't mean you don't believe in the Most High no more. Oh, he don't believe the Sabbath is on Saturday. You don't know what I believe. I'm saying is we can always examine the text. You did. That's how we can keep all the arguments down. Look, we ain't even got to discuss belief. Belief is personal. You understand? Well, we can discuss this text though, and any text, and see if it line up with our reasoning. That's it. That's it. You did. That wasn't a video saying don't keep Shabbat. You did. That was a video challenging the Friday night, Saturday night, sundown, and sunset, or Saturday Sabbath, basically. Whether you're doing it Friday night sundown, or Saturday night sundown, or Saturday sunrise, or Sunday sunrise, it's challenging the Saturday Sabbath. That's what that video is. I just put it in the link. Put it in the chat. Let me put it in there again for y'all just not coming in. Very thought-provoking. Very thought-provoking. Nothing wrong with that. All right. A lot of Israelites disagree about, you know, feast days. We're dealing with feast days and all that, right? A lot of Israelites disagree on what is the new moon. Is it the conjunction moon, the dark moon? Is it the first line of light of the slither? You even got an assembly I heard that teach now that the new moon is the full moon. Yeah. Matter of fact, the biggest Israelite camp out here teach that. IUIC, that the full moon is the new moon. You dig? So Israel disagrees about a lot, right? How to spot the new moon, when to start your count. You understand? We all be looking crazy as hell. We call the new moon a dark moon, and then you don't see no sign of light off the moon for like 2 or 3 days. Or you run into where the moon be like full for 2 days. You understand? So this throws brothers' counts off. We don't know what the new moon is. Like if I asked you what the new moon is, Not the phrase new moon, but what is it according to the scriptures? You could even show it to me. Not according to scriptures. You can go to like astrology and deal with certain apps and all that. But you couldn't show me in the Bible what a new moon is. I'm not talking about where it's mentioned. What is it? You see what I'm saying? You won't find it say dark moon. You won't find it say first slither of light. When you do find the first slither of light, it referring to the new moon is the first book of Enoch, chapter 78, verses 12 through 14. According to Enoch, the dark moon is the end of the month and the first sign of light. The first slither is the new moon. You start your count then. According to Enoch, though. You understand? But there's a lot of Israelites who disagree with that. You dig? So you got and then you got, okay, do you establish the Shabbat is just strictly with the moon? Is it a solar, lunar type thing? You understand? You see the heavenly bodies are in motion, so what really is it? You see, so Israel disagree about that already. When a day starts, when a day begins already, right? But you never hear Israel asking or talking about the calendar. How did the calendar come into play? The Hebrew calendar that is. Who invented it? I'm talking about the one we use today. We can play the games and be like, we study the heavens. No, everything you do is based off some type of calendar, whether you talk about Gregorian, and it's a year attached to it, ain't it? It's a year attached to the Gregorian. All right. So if that's the case, then if I was to ask any bro, well, what year is it? We can argue all day about what the new moon is, when a day starts, when a day begins, but what year is it according to the Hebrew calendar? You see that video dealt more with Hillel and him establishing the weekly Saturday as a Sabbath as a politician. You understand? Dealing with Constantine's son and how he banned any quote-unquote Jews from even observing a calendar that they understood. You see that? Hillel II. That's according to the history, all right? So we argue all day about when we keep Passover. What day y'all doing this? What day? All right, when we going to discuss the elephant in the room? What year is it? What year is it according to the Hebrew calendar that we all argue over? We argue over leap years. We argue over establishing 13 months and all type of stuff. All right? Obviously, there are different calendars. Jubilees, the 6th chapter tells you it's a 364-day year. Dealing with the solar cycle. Right? But then you got mentions of new moons and new moon feasts in the scriptures. 1 Samuel, the 20th chapter. Even in the law, observing the new moon. Psalm 81, blow up the trumpet in the new moon. So we got all that, but what year is it? What year is it? See, how we talking about prophecy when prophecy is based off something that's supposed to happen in time? So you can't talk prophecy, you ain't talking time. What year are we in? And is there any history amongst your people that has established a calendar year? You understand? As well as we know the feast days in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, every brew should know what year he in, Hebraically speaking. All right? So what year are we in? Check this out. I'm doing some research. Dang. Now watch this. Let me share my screen. Hey, look, I'm just sharing the information, man. I know a lot of people spilled their coffee. Ain't nothing to be mad about. Let's rap. All right? You know, who am I? Time. What you know about that? But what year are we in? Look at this. Look at my brother. Look at YAH'KI. YAH'KI say Ethiopian calendar is 7 years behind this Gregorian calendar. Yep, this is a mess we are in. Yeah, there's a lot of madness going on. But look at it. Let me show this. Ask any brew you bump into. All right, what calendar do you go by, man? I don't go by the Gregorian, bro. I go by the Creator's calendar. Yeah, because we into the moon cycle, we study the heavens, and then we set the dates. But even though the date you set is a Gregorian date, all right, I give you that. All right, what year is this? We're gonna be like, oh, I don't know, and it really don't matter. It really don't matter. You dig? Now, when he get to running, it really don't matter. I don't want to hear none of that because everything you do revolves around dates. All right? Most of you niggas celebrate your birthdays. Don't tell me it don't matter. Most of you know how old you are, how old your children is, how long you been in business, how long you been married. You understand? All of it. Don't run me, it don't matter. We hold up the Hebrew calendar and its various interpretations. What year is it, though? According to the ancestors or according to the history that we have. What year is according to the Hebrew calendar? Just want to show y'all that. All right, and it's an easy find. Share this screen real quick. Stuff ain't even hard, man. Night. I'm gonna go right for the jugular right out the gate. Then we can double back. Yeah, all I did was type in this. And I found more too. That's what I typed in on Google. You can do the same. Hebrew calendar creation, year and origin. Year and origin. Right? Now look at this. What, man? Look, man. we was getting it in yesterday in one of the chat groups we got. All right. Y'all, this says right here, the starting point of Hebrew chronology is the year 3761 BC. Do y'all understand what that's saying? That's saying the first man was created in the 3rd millennium BC or BCE. Meaning Adam wasn't even created in 4000 BC. Do y'all understand this? That means there should be no world history before 3761 BC. None. No type of great civilizations, no type of structures, no type of nothing, because Adam is the starting point. Adam is the starting point. Remember, he shall think to change times and laws. It's Daniel 7:25. You don't really know how deep that rabbit hole has gone or is going, because you can't even tell me what year you in. If the starting point of Hebrew chronology, that's when the world was created. 3761 BC. I'm saying when Adam was created. The date for the creation of the world. Hold on. Adam was created after 3761 then. Because the world had to be created first, correct? The starting point of Hebrew chronology is the year 3761 BC, the date for the creation of the world as described in the Old Testament. Stop it, man. Stop it. They saying the world wasn't even created, y'all, 4000 BC. There was no world in existence. Look at this. The Jewish calendar is lunisolar, based on lunar months of 29 days, alternating with 30 days. An extra month is intercalculated every 3 years based on a cycle of 19 years. Facts. I've actually witnessed the 13 months being added to the feast and all that. But how many of y'all knew that we banging, right? We like, yeah, this is what it is. But the start date for the history of Adam or the history of man is after 3761 to 3761 BC. The world was created according to the Hebrew scholars. Look at that. Right out the gate, y'all, they've been playing with our perception. They've been playing with our perception the whole time. We just souls lost in time. You don't even know what time you in. What year is it? Don't come to me about no Hebrew calendar and arguing about no moon cycles, and you can't even tell me what year we in. What year are we in? Because if I ask you what year are we in according to the Gregorian, you're gonna spill 2022 out your mouth. I noticed something. The Old Testament brews don't deny the fact that we in the year 5782. Yeah, I ain't been 6,000 years since Adam was created, according to the Hebrew scholars and chronology. 5782. They making up calendars. They tampering with perception. And you don't even know when creation is or when Adam was. You don't know what's going on. And y'all trip off this. If the world was created in 3761 BC, where you putting the flood in? It's a lot you got to put. It's a lot you got to cram in real quick. There's a lot you got to cram in real quick before we was even in Egypt. All right, watch this. Let's stop that. Let's get on back to it. You did. Let's get on back to it. Got you. Let's share this. A little more on Wikipedia, and then we're going to get into our lesson. So it's an easy search, y'all. Easy search, Wikipedia. You understand? Right online, they ain't hiding none of this stuff from you. And this the year we in right here. See that right there? AM is Latin for here it is right here. Anno Mundi. In the year of the world. So when it says 5782, it basically AM 5782, it means 5,782 years since creation. That's that. According to the Hebrew chronology, that's where we at right now. All right. Began at sunset on September 6, 2021, and will end at sunset on the 25th of September, 2022. Y'all see this? Hold on. Okay. Thought I had that deal up. Let me share this with you. All right, so what I went to right on Wikipedia, I just typed in Hebrew calendar. Wikipedia give you the whole rundown. I'll give you the whole rundown of what's going on. You see Anu Mundi, it means in the year of creation. Or since the creation. Here it is right here. In the year of the world. Middle Ages is Anu Mundi or AM. So when you see that in front of a number, it means in the year of the world. Meaning since creation. All right. So AM in the year of the world, 5782, began at sunset on September 6, 2021, and will end at sunset on 25th September 2022. Y'all see that? According to the Hebrew calendar, we in the year 5782 for about another 4 or 5 weeks. And then we go into 5783. Y'all see this? So that's the years. And a lot of brews don't want to deal with the years. A lot of brothers don't want to deal with the years. It's because now you got to deal with world history. You understand? Look, if you're not dealing with time, then how are you dealing with prophecy? Right? Prophecy is based off time. Right? Something is going to happen specifically at a certain period of time. You see? So I just wanted to, throw that out there and let y'all, meditate on that. For one, the video, take it in, look at it. You may agree with it, you may not. You understand? But that video I put in the chat is called Hillel II. Copy it again. Hillel II and the Saturday Sabbath Deception. 20-minute long videos, it was very, very informative. All right, but don't be afraid to challenge your beliefs, challenge your thoughts, challenge what it is, because if it's truth, it's going to stand regardless. All right, so don't be afraid of that. All right, some people are afraid it's bruised, and I understand, man. Oh, man, I don't want to blaspheme. You dig? You got that fear of burning forever hanging over your head and all that. You understand? But understand this, truth is absolute. All right, so whatever you believe in, if it's based and rooted in truth, it's going to stand. If not, it got to fall. All lies fall. Truth don't fall. Lies do. All right, so just check that out when y'all get a chance. All right. All right, now look, I'm finna go here and share this with y'all. All right, you see the title. All right, we got the title. The Creator has raised up witnesses in every nation. To bear witness to his light and testimony. All right, and this is what the Essenes were teaching. in the first century before the Common Era, 2nd century, 3rd century, going all the way back, teaching that. All right, and you're gonna see. All right, now it makes sense when we read the Nazarene, understand the Nazarene literature by Yahshua, and it says he was over in India, right? He was over in China, Tibet, down in Egypt. All right, we're about to go ahead and put a full understanding on that, because you know certain brothers be like, oh, what you mean? He went over there and became Buddhist, or he went over there and became this, and it's really a lack of understanding the brotherhood, the worldwide brotherhood. You understand? Like then we understood that we had way more in common than what we didn't have in common. You feel me? And the things that we had in common and agreed upon was the creation of the Most High. You understand? Nature, right? Defenders of nature. All these brotherhoods was against bloodshed. It was all about peace, meditating, spiritual progression, loving your neighbor as yourself, righteous works done unto others, serving none but the Creator. That's what they was into. That's all they was into. You understand? So you'll see all these brotherhoods, you understand, established amongst in these other lands, and the mainstream religious orders of those lands are pagan and down with the false gods and deities. Just like around Israel, the Essenes and Nazarene brothers was dealing with the Creator in communities, living in the wilderness, you understand, while those who were worshiping Baal and them was in Jerusalem dealing with the bloodshed and the murder. Same thing. So around all these ancient localities, you had the brotherhood living in communities, and they all agreed on how to worship Creator. You understand? So this is what I want to show. All right. That's right, all around the world. DC Sniper, YAH'KI. Praises. Fat Peas grew up to a 7-day event. Has been trying to wake my people up to the Roman Catholic Saturday light, man. It's crazy, man. The rabbit hole continues to get deep, though. All right, y'all, this is a journey. This is a journey, and we are all on this journey together. You understand? But the rabbit hole continues to get deep. You feel me? A journey is very adventurous. So let me show y'all this real quick. First, we're going to go to establish the brothers was living in communities. All right, I'm going to go back over just a little bit of what I did not that long ago, just real quick, nothing major. And then what I want to show y'all, all right, I want to go here first. All right, last video we went into this. This is the gospel of the Nazarenes. This is the forward. This is the forward. All right, this, along with reading something else this morning, all praise to the Creator, inspired the lesson. Woke up and Most High put something right in my face. I say, wow. Wow, you can't make none of this up, boy. None of it. Now look at this. It says in this gospel, this is the gospel of the Nazarenes, known as in history as the authentic Hebrew gospel of Matthew, the gospel of the Hebrews, gospel of the Ebionites, gospel of the Holy 12. I mean, it took on many names. All right, in the gospel of the Nazarene, right? So this is in the forward. This is out of my actual book. It says in this gospel, there is also an emphasis on the universality of truth. Truth is universal. We as brews do that a lot. You know, we do a lot. We get braggadocious and act like it's exclusive to us. You understand? When actually there's a universality to truth. It's universal. Right? And if you rocking based off these simple concepts and structures and standing on that, you understand? You and the community you rock with. Then no matter who you run across based off physical description, that's a brother or sister. You understand? See, this thing is spiritual progression, so it's past the flesh and the blood. That ain't inherited in the kingdom anyway. Kingdom ain't even about all that. It's different, yeah, it's different perspectives about the kingdom in the Bible as well, absolutely. You understand? But this right here, what we are talking about here, connects with the Essenes, connects with the Nazarenes, connects with other brotherhoods and other localities of the earth where the Most High, the Creator, had his line of light established. You understand? So no matter where you look at and see, you know, the beast nature dealing with religion, you're gonna always find those of a peaceful sect that dwell in like the wilderness or that dwell in communities around them. You understand? And look, what you'll find out is that we all rock the same way, live by the same code. All right. So in this gospel, there is also an emphasis on the universality of truth. Again, Yahshua taught them, saying, the Creator raises up witnesses to the truth in every nation and every age, that all might know the will of the eternal and do it. That's Gospel of the Nazarene 66, verse 1. You see that? So this is all about you reading and feeling, you dig, spiritual vibrations and knowing whether somebody, you know, in spirit is rocking with the Most High, regardless of their circumstances. Regardless of their circumstances. You understand? Regardless of their physical description. Right? Regardless of what it is outward, you got to try the spirit by the spirit. Why? Because according to this teaching, the Most High raises up witnesses to the truth in every nation and every age. I mean, in every time, y'all. Lines of light are established. It would have to be, you know what I mean? This age of darkness, that all might know the will of the eternal and do it. The Gospel of the Nazarenes is filled with historical statements of timeless truths that are critically important guides for us to live by in both the present and future age to come. One of the most fascinating sections is a new clarification of the ancient commandments. Yahshua quoted to say, behold, a new law I give you, which is not new but old. Hear, O Israel, the Creator is one. Many are my seers and my prophets. Many. And me all live and move and have substance. So here it is, Israel. The Creator is one. One universal force. Right? And many are his prophets. Many are his seers. Right? And if you live based off these codes and conducts, then guess what? You're part of the Brotherhood. Look at this. Code 1 or commandment 1. You should worship the one eternal unbegotten Creator. Unbegotten. Nothing or no one sired Creator. It's the first thing you need to understand. Nothing, no thing, or no one sired or started Creator. Creator always was, is, and ever shall be. Look at this. Code of commandment 2. You should not take away the life of any creature, nor yet torment it. See, if a brotherhood is to be established, it's codes and conduct that has to be established. Like without the rules, there is no brotherhood. Without the structure, there is no brotherhood. So how are we in a brotherhood and over there, you understand, you slaughtering animals? Like on the side, we a brotherhood, we in a community, and all we hear is animals squealing and blood being shed. Nah, that's against the code. You should not take away the life of any creature, nor yet torment it. You should cherish and protect the weak, the oppressed, and all creatures that suffer wrong. Code number 3 means you're a guardian of creation. These are codes and conducts or commands. This is not advice. We're supposed to cherish and protect the weak, the oppressed, and all creatures that suffer wrong. That's from man down to animal. Look at code number 4, or command 4. You should not eat the flesh nor drink the blood of any slaughtered creature, nor yet anything which brings disorder to your health or senses. This thing got to do with health too, spiritual progression. And you mean to tell me the brotherhoods from and all these different localities in the earth was rocking based off these common core principles? This is what they agreed on, right? You're not supposed to eat the flesh nor drink the blood of any slaughtered creature, nor yet anything which brings disorder to your health or senses. Look at command of code 5. You shall eat the fruits and herbs of the earth. You shall eat the fruits and herbs of the earth, and working in the law, live long in the land. So yeah, this is about health. All right? This is about your senses. This is about your awareness. This is about you living long in the land. The Creator who created your anatomies let you know this is what you need to do. All right? You dig? Watch this. Bad. Code 6 or command 6. You should not make impure marriages where love and health are not. Even your marriages are based off love and health. See, eating like that, you have no choice but to be healthy. You don't purge yourself. Cleanse yourself on out and that be part of your dailies. Right? Health is very important. Health has everything to do, a lot to do with your spiritual progression. Right? Your ability to hear the Creator's voice clearer and clearer. You understand? Your ability to unlock a lot of your spiritual powers. A lot of the powers are psyche, dealing with the mind. You know what I mean? A lot of them are. You be hearing the Creator's voice more and more clairvoyant. Everything's more clear, thinking faster. Right? That has to do with your health and what you pouring down your throat. All right, look at this. You should revere your fathers and mothers and all the teachers of righteousness. Absolutely. Salute to all the stand-up kings and queens, or fathers and mothers, or brothers and sisters, gods and goddesses. Salute. Salute. And all the teachers of righteousness. You should not bear false witness against, nor willfully deceive any, nor yet covet or steal their goods. You should purify yourselves daily and rest the seventh day. You should not do unto others as you would that others should not do unto you. All right. So that right there is the code. And this is the code that was taught right after he told you that you know, and the Most High raises up witnesses in every nation to bear witness to that line of light or that truth. All right. Now what I want to go show y'all is this real quick. Real quick, Gospel of the Nazarenes. All right, the end of chapter 5. All right, verse 21. And the Most High said, out of Egypt have I called my son, who shall be called the Nazarene. And he arose and took the young child and his mother and came into the land of Israel. And they came and dwelt in the place called Nazareth. Where dwelt Nazarites and Essenes. And he was called the Nazarene. You see that? It also came to pass in the second year of Yahshua's life, a second son was born to Joseph and Miriam. His name was called Yaakov, James, meaning one who was just and righteous before the Most High, one who was of true Israel. As with Yahshua and YAH'KI, John, he was consecrated unto the Most High, a Nazarite, from his mama's womb, according to the way. Nazarite, he don't eat flesh, right? Don't even drink strong drink or none of that. Like, them bros was going hard, but they definitely wasn't chewing on no animal sandwiches. All right. And if you new to the Nazarene gospel, you won't get past chapter 1, 2, 3 without understanding this deal here is very revolutionary. It is totally against the consumption of animals. Totally. You understand? So these brothers was living like this. Yahshua, YAH'KI, and Yaakov. And Yahshua, mom and father, all of them was living according to this way. All right. So they was living amongst the community, the Essenes and Nazarites. Look at this. Verse 23, chapter 5, verse 23. All right. In latter years, they would have 3 more sons, Judah, Justice, and Simeon, and also 2 daughters, Asiyah and Lydia. You can verify that in Galatians 1 and 19. All right. Mark 16 and 1. Mark 6 and 3, and also Matthew 13, 55 on down. You run right into Messiah's brothers and sisters. He was the oldest. Okay. So I went there to establish that Nazareth was a community of Nazarites and Essenes. All right. And that's the Gospel of the Nazarenes, chapter 5, verse 21 on down. All right. Y'all get some understanding so far. If you understand that Nazareth, according to the Nazarene lit, was a colony or community of Nazarites and Essenes, give me a 1 up in the chat. All right. All right. All right. Give me a 1 up in the chat. So let's go show. Let's go show even more. All right. Bang. All right. Now I wanted to go here. All right. Before I go there, though, before I share that with y'all, we're going to come back there. I want to read this right here. All right. Where we're going right now is the secret teachings of the Essene Brotherhood, book 3, if you got the book. All right. I want to show y'all something. I was reading this morning. This is where Creator had me this morning. I said, oh, yeah, I got to go live on this. We got to get this in. Hold on, y'all. We got to get this in. Show y'all what's happening. All right, so this right here, the Essene Gospel of Peace, Book 3, the Lost Scrolls of the Essene Brotherhood. Remember the title. All right, remember the title. The Creator has raised up witnesses in every nation. All right, in every nation. Will you follow the light or darkness? Will you follow the light or follow darkness? All right, now watch this. All right, look at this. It says, now we have proudly separated ourselves from nature, and the spirit of Pan is dead. Pan, huh? Now that's interesting. That's interesting. Because either Pan is a demon or Pan is a place. You dig? And where you going to read about the history of Pan upon it being a place? Because you got your so-called God, so-called Pan. You dig? But he right here talking about this is a bad thing. He's saying that we can separate ourselves from nature and the spirit of Pan is, or Pan is dead. Where are you going to read about Pan? Where that's at? I found it very interesting. I found it very, very interesting. All right. Men's souls are scattered beyond the hope of unity, and the sword of formal creed sharply separates them everywhere. To live in harmony with the universe made life the performance of a majestic ceremony. To live against it was to creep aside into a cul-de-sac. Y'all heard it? Yeah. See, Yahshua, his brother and them, John the Baptist, all them, right? Yeah, they was Israelites, but they was dealing on a higher vibrational level, the levels of nature, dealing with the high science. It was very powerful when it came to the anatomy and all that, and the heavens. We're gonna read about some of it later. Very knowledgeable of the healing properties of the crystals, the botanicals, heavy into prayer, fasting, meditation, was not chewing on no type of animal sciences. All right, learned to invoke the name of the Creator and use that to heal and work miracles and all that. Yeah, like high levels. All right, so notice what it says right here: to live in harmony with the universe made life the performance of a majestic ceremony. Right, because you becoming one with the rest of the Creator's creation. To live against it, to live against nature, to live against creation, was to creep aside into a cul-de-sac, yeah, into your own little corner. Yet even now, whispers of change are stealing over the face of the world once more. Like another vast dream beginning, man's consciousness is slowly spreading outward once again. Yeah. Yeah, some voice from the long ago is divinely trumpeting across our little globe. To that voice, I dedicate this book. EBS is Edmund Bardou Sazeki. All right. He's the one that the Essene Gospel of Peace, all 4 volumes came through. All right. And I remember we first came out with all the pictures of white man and all that. And he tell you, like, I translated it. You feel me? I translated it. But just because it's a white man in the, 1929, I think it was. And originally, it wasn't even translated in English. It was written in French, I believe it was first. You did? So he dedicated this book. But what was evil about what the white man just said? If it's so evil, what was evil? You know what I mean? What's so evil about that? Watch this. All right, right here. So I found this very, very profound. This is what I was on early this morning, right? Preface. Book 3 of the Essene Gospel of Peace. This third book of the Essene Gospel of Peace is a collection of texts of great spiritual, literary, okay? It is literature. Don't get out your feelings, all right? It's a collection of texts of great spiritual, literary, philosophical, and poetical value, created by 2 powerful interwoven streams of tradition. You heard this? Created by 2 powerful interwoven streams of tradition. Excuse me. Chronologically, the first is the stream of traditions to which the Hebrew people were exposed in the Babylonian prison. Hold on. Hold on. What's really going on here? Chronologically, the first is the stream of traditions to which the Hebrew people were exposed in the Babylonian prison, dating from the Gilgamesh epics to the Zen Avesta of Zarathustra. Ooh, wee. Did they just bring up Zarathustra? Zarathustra, huh? Look at that. Look at that. I mean, that's wild because we read about Zarathustra in Owasso. We read about Pan, the sinking of the continent of Pan in Owasso. That's wild, man. That's wild. When I was reading this, I was like, hold on, Zarathustra. Man, that's a whole section of him in the Owasso. And about how the Creator had a line of light on him. And he taught the same universal principles, same thing that we just been going over. But he lived like 11,000 years ago. You see? I found that very, very ironic. No, not even ironic. Interesting that Edmund Bardou-Sazeki is mentioned in Zarathustra. You feel me? I found it very, very interesting. Dating from the Gilgamesh epics to the Zen Avesta of Zarathustra. The second is a stream of traditions flowing with poetical majesty through the Old and New Testaments, dating from the ageless Enoch and the other patriarchs through the prophets and on to the mysterious Essene Brotherhood. Look at this. Look at this. In the buried library of the Essene Brotherhood at the Dead Sea, where the great number of scrolls were found. Look at this. In the buried library of the Essene Brotherhood at the Dead Sea, where the great number of scrolls were found, the text of these two streams of traditions were very much interwoven. They followed each other in a strange succession. The powerful cubistic simplicity of the first juxtaposed with the majestic expressionist poetry of the second. The original text of this collection may be classified into three approximate groups. About 70% of them are completely different from the ancient sacred books of the Avestas and the Old and New Testaments. 20% are similar and 10% are identical. Okay, look at this. My desire in presenting this collection was to abstain from dry, philological and exegetical interpretations, and instead to concentrate on their spiritual and poetical values, more attractive to 20th century man. See, this was written last century. See, 1900s. I tried to follow the style of my French translation of the first book of the Essene Gospel of Peace. Has now been published in 17 languages and has been distributed in over 200,000 copies. That was in the 1900s, before 81. I hope this book 3 will be successful as book 1 and thus continue to bring these ageless inspirations to our disoriented century, guiding us per secula sequoium toward greater and greater light. Edmund Bardou-Sazeki. All right, introduction. Look at this. I found this very interesting. Very, very interesting. If y'all getting some understanding so far, give me a 2 up in the chat. All right, give it 2 up in the chat. Samaj, y'all free, bless up, y'all free. Watch the video. It's a video that we had posted earlier. We watched it and then I posted it in the link. Maybe you can scroll back up and find it. If not, when you watch the video again, check out that link. You'll see. You'll be like, dang, that's crazy. All right, I see y'all in the building. Introduction. Look at this. Remember the title of the class. The Most High has raised up witnesses in every nation. All right. Will you follow the light or will you follow the darkness? Yeah. From the remote ages of antiquity, a remarkable teaching has existed, which is universal in its application. There it is. And ageless in its wisdom. Fragments of it are found in Sumerian hieroglyphs. And on tiles and stones dating back some 8,000 or 10,000 years. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. According to the Hebrew chronology, you don't got 8,000 or 10,000 years. You ain't even been on the earth 6,000 years. Mm. Mm. Y'all see? You see? Somebody been tampering with our perception. The Hebrew chronology say this year 5782. Since the creation of the world. We got Nazarene Essene literature and other records that tell you, man, please. You understand? You know what was going on? It was great civilization standing on this earth before 3761 BCE, before the Common Era. And that's when the Hebrew chronology starts. But look at this. It's in the Essene literature, well understood by the scholars. Right? Fragments of it are found in Sumerian hieroglyphs and on the tiles and stones dating back some 8,000 or 10,000 years. Some of the symbols, such as for the sun, moon, earth, water, and other natural forces, are from an even earlier age. So prior to 10,000 years. What we dealing with? If I ask you what year are we in as a brew, and you keep running this calendar at me and your perspective on the calendar and how we're supposed to use this and that and this moon cycle and that moon cycle, but you can't tell me what year we in. Every calendar come with a year we in, bro. Every calendar. Well, this literature and history goes past the Hebrew chronology of the Bible. Why? Look at this. The teachings we talking about go back before Adam was created, according to the Hebrew scholars. Before even the world was created, according to the Hebrew scholars. In Sumerian hieroglyphs and on tiles and stones dating back some 8,000 or 10,000 years, some of the symbols, such as for the sun, moon, earth, water, and other natural forces, are from an even earlier age, preceding the cataclysm that ended the Pleistocene period. How many thousand of years previous to that teaching existed is unknown. Preceding the cataclysm that ended the Pleistocene period. Wow, let's go back way before the scholars of the Bible say the world was created. Look at this. To study and practice this teaching is to reawaken within the heart of every man the intuitive knowledge that can solve his individual problems and the problems of the world. Y'all heard this? What you think Yahshua meant when he told you the kingdom of heaven is within? All right? Now, y'all, everything is backwards. You think the rich are the successful, the rich are the poor. You are the rich. The poor are really the rich. Those that are rich in spirit and understanding and all that. You in a better spot than, the rich who have no understanding. Notice what it says. It says it will reawaken, these teachings will reawaken within the heart of every man an intuitive knowledge that can solve his individual problems and the problems of the world. Traces of the teaching. Look at this, y'all. Have appeared in almost every country and religion. Stop it. We ain't talking about the idolatry and that. You can keep that. We ain't talking about the animal sacrifices. You can keep that. We ain't talking about sanctioning warfare and abetting warfare. You can keep all that. Traces of the teaching have appeared in almost every country and religion. Its fundamental principles were taught in ancient Persia, Egypt, India, Tibet, China, Palestine, Greece, and many other countries. But it has been transmitted in its most pure form by the Essenes, that mysterious brotherhood which lived during the last 2 or 3 centuries before the Common Era and the first century of the Christian era, at the Dead Sea in Palestine and at Lake Merodis in Egypt. In Palestine and Syria, the members of the Brotherhood were known as Essenes, and in Egypt as therapeutae or healers. So what you think? What you think when it says they went down into Egypt to learn it? Man, he went and dwelt amongst the Brotherhood, the brothers who are very advanced in healing and the anatomy of the body. You see that? The therapeutae or the therapists or the healers, that was the Essene community or the Brotherhood, you understand, that was dealing with the light of the Creator during the time of the Essenes. And notice and look at all these countries. Yes, you can find idolatry in all those countries, but understand that the Brotherhood we talking about ain't dealing with the idols. The main Orthodox religious sects of these countries, they're dealing with the idols. They're dealing with the animal sacrifices. They dealing with the entrails and the fat off organs. They dealing with the abetting and sanctioning warfare, not the brotherhood and the community surrounding them. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to see. Look at this. The esoteric part of their teaching is given in the tree of life. The Essene communions with the angels and the sevenfold peace, among others. The exoteric or outer teaching appears in book 1 of the Essene Gospel of Peace and the recently discovered Dead Sea Scrolls. The origin of the brotherhood is said to be unknown, and the derivation of the name is uncertain. Some believes still tripping. Okay, yeah. Hold on. Oh, I got more. What's that? Oh, let me scroll down. Hold on. I think these deals might be out of sync on me. All right. Okay. Now here we go. All right, right here. No, I wasn't tripping. Let me have it. All right. Same right here. It was saying some believe. Dang. Let's still keep tripping on me. There we go. 46. Right there. Let me have that. All right. We're saying some believe Enoch and claim him to be their founder. Talking about the origin of the brotherhood, right? Communions with the angelic world having been first given to him. All right. Others consider the name comes from Israel, the elects of the people, to whom Moses brought the communions at Mount Sinai, where they were revealed to him by the angelic world. Look at that. According to the Nazarene Essene literature, what Moses got came from the angelic world, from angels. I found that interesting. But whatever their origin, it is certain that the Essenes existed for a very long time as a brotherhood, perhaps under other names in other lands. Y'all heard this? Regardless of the name, you dig? Regardless of the name, whatever its origin, it is certain that the Essenes existed for a very long time as a brotherhood. Perhaps under other names in other lands. Exactly. Shalom. Salute to the Nazarene Essene faithists in the building. Bless up. All right. The teaching appears in the Zen Vista of Zarathustra. There goes Zarathustra again. So if somebody was reading this and was like, well, who is Zarathustra? Like, where could you go read a detailed, in-depth history of Zarathustra, who he was, the history, when he lived, where you can go read about Zarathustra? Because these teachings, the Essene brotherhood, the light of the creator, was with Zarathustra. But Zarathustra lived, y'all, 10,000 years ago. 11,000 years ago. You see? Oh, look at this. The teaching appears in the Zen Vesta of Zarathustra, who translated it into a way of life that was followed for thousands of years. Look at this. Zarathustra translated these teachings into a way of life, the way, right? That was followed for thousands of years. It contains the fundamental concepts of Brahmanism, the Vedas, and the Upanishads, and the yoga systems of India, sprang from the same source. Look at this. Look at this. Buddha later gave forth essentially the same basic ideas, and his sacred Bodhi tree is correlated with the Essene tree of life. In Tibet, the teaching once more found expression in the Tibetan wheel of life. Yeah. See that? Brotherhood all over this earth. Same similar teachings, just different names and all that. The Pythagoreans and Stoics in ancient Greece also followed the Essene principles and much of their way of life. The same teaching was an element of the Adonic culture of the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians historically are the Canaanites, or the Canaanites historically are the Phoenicians. It's an element of the Adonic culture of the Phoenicians, of the Alexandrian school of philosophy in Egypt. And look at this. Contributed greatly to many branches of Western culture: Freemasonry, Gnosticism, the Kabbalah, and Christianity. Yahshua interpreted it in its most sublime and beautiful form in the 7 Beatitudes of the Sermon on the Mount. Look at that. All those branches of schools of thought borrow from the Essene. You understand? Understand it. And that understanding go all the way back, Zarathustrian back. The Essenes lived on the shores of lakes and rivers, away from cities and towns, and practiced a communal way of life. Sharing, look at this, and practice a communal way of life. That's how you know what the apostles were doing. In Acts, the 2nd chapter, and Acts, the 4th chapter, was in the Essene movement. That's how the Essenes live, communally, all things in common. You dig? They dwelt amongst each other and worshiped creators and shared all their resources and generated, resources and revenue for the community. But they lived amongst each other. They didn't live amongst the orthodoxy. Not the majority of them did. All right? Look at this. Sharing equally in everything. They were mainly agriculturists and arboriculturists, having a vast knowledge of crops, soil, and climate conditions, which enabled them to grow a remarkable variety of fruits. Look at this. Look at this. They was cold, they had them green thumbs, you dig? They was cold with it. They was able to grow a variety of fruits and vegetables in a comparatively desert areas and with a minimum of labor. They understood the science. You understand? They understood the science and how to grow, even when they were living in what seemed as dire conditions, right? Because they understood the science, they understood elements, they understood anatomy, right? Understood the heavens, right? Were in communion with the angels, the forces. Now, these brothers was high level, right? Now, look at this. They had no servants or slaves and were said to have been the first people to condemn slavery, both in theory and practice. Remember, we was reading the Nazarene Acts, and Clement wanted to serve Peter, and Peter was like, look, I don't got the most expensive horse throwing $5 grapes down my throat. Man, I eat bread, I eat olives, a few potted herbs, and I got one cloak. How you gonna serve me? They had no servants or slaves and were said to have been the first people to condemn slavery, both in theory and practice. There were no rich and no poor amongst them, both conditions being considered by them as deviations from the law. You ain't allowed to be around her flashing like you better than everybody, and you ain't allowed to be around her poor. All things are in common, and your necessities are provided for. All right? Your necessities are provided for. Either way, extreme poverty or too many riches was considered deviation from the law. They established their own economic system. Look at that. See, so they were into economics, but they understood the power of community. You understand? When you come together, you naturally have an ecosystem or an economy. Naturally. See that? They established their own economic system based wholly on the law and showed that all man's food and material needs can be attained without struggle. Absolutely. No need to kill anybody over food, shelter, you understand, and clothing. And they showed it. They showed it could be done without struggling, without fighting, without you having to do something that goes against your conscience and morals. All right? And show that all man's food and material needs can be attained without struggle through knowledge of the law. They spent much time in study. Salute. Salute. They spent much time in study, both of ancient writings and special branches of learning, such as education, healing, and astronomy. Y'all heard this? They were said to be the heirs. Look at this. Where's Cal P in her? He about to flip out. Cal P about to be like, I told you, ennui. I could hear Cal P die, boy. They were said to be the heirs of Chaldean and Persian astronomy. Cal P and Selah Shalom were probably like, dang, dirty. They were said to be the heirs of Chaldean and Persian astronomy and the Egyptian arts of healing. Oh, wait. Now see this? They were adept in prophecy, for which they prepared by prolonged fasting. See, prophecy is a tool, right? It's a skill, right? And they were very learned in tapping in, all right? In the use of plants, so botanicals and herbs for healing man and beasts. They were likewise proficient. They knew how to heal man and beast. These brothers were your scientists, your healers, your doctors. You see? But they lived a certain way. They lived a certain way amongst each other. You understand? They stuck to a specific code. And their way showed that man can attain what he wants without struggling, man. Stop that. Or attain what he needs without struggle. All right? Very, very proficient in prophecy, astronomy, arts of healing, the botanicals, dealing with the herbs. You understand? These were right here, and this brotherhood was established all over the earth. All right? They lived a simple, regular life, rising each day before sunrise to study and commune with the forces of nature. Yeah, communication. All right? The communions are in here, actually. All right? Bathing in cold water as a ritual and donning white garments. After their daily labor in the fields and vineyards, they partook of their meals in silence, proceeding and ending them with prayer. Their profound respect for all living things, they never touch flesh foods. You heard this? In their profound respect for all living things, they never touch flesh foods, nor did they drink fermented liquids. Their evenings were devoted to study and communion with the heavenly forces. Yeah, how you spiritual and you ain't even in communication? You know how to tap in. Last I read, the angels are servants or ministers of fire, sent to be heirs of those who will be sent to be and help to those who will be heirs to salvation, of salvation. These brothers in constant communion. It's part of what they do. Evening was the beginning of their day, and their Sabbath or holy day began on Friday evening, the first day of their week. That's what he assumed. You won't find Friday or Saturday nowhere in like the Dead Sea Scrolls, none of that. But that's another topic. This day was given to study. The Sabbath was given to study, discussion, the entertaining of visitors, and the playing of certain musical instruments, relics of which have been discovered. Right here. It says their way of life enabled them to live to advanced ages of 120 years or more, and they were said to have marvelous strength and endurance. In all their activities, they expressed creative love. They sent out healers and teachers from the brotherhoods, amongst whom were Elijah, John the Baptist, John the Beloved, and the great Essene master, Yahshua. Yahshua was an Essene master teacher. All right, a master in all those areas. We were talking about prophecy, anatomy, healing, man and beast, astronomy, mastering it all. But he was an Essene master. Right? Came right out the Essene Brotherhood. This brotherhood was established all over the earth. Right? What you want to call the therapists or the stoics or the whatever. You understand? Known today as faithists. Look at this. Membership in the brotherhood was attainable only after a probationary period of a year. Yeah, you're on probation. And 3 years of initiatory work. 3 years of initiatory work, followed by 7 more years before being admitted to the full inner teaching. You see that? About 11 years, you understand, you on probation before you can be admitted into the brotherhood. See that? A lot of Western ideals, a lot of even so-called secret societies, they're borrowing, they're constructing their ideas from the Essenes and the ancient brotherhoods that, you understand, knew they had to protect their way of learning. They knew they had to preserve their doctrine. And they did it through, you understand, probationary periods, hand signals, all type of different things. All right. To which the wicked is taken today and manipulated and done all type of stuff. But nonetheless, they still stealing or taking or borrowing from your brotherhood. All right. 11 years. Membership in the brotherhood was attainable only after a probationary period of 8 years and 3 years of initiatory work, followed by 7 more years before being admitted to the full inner teaching. How many of y'all knew that? Could nobody just skip up and say, yeah, this is what it is, I'm part of this? Right? You had to, you understand, be raised up. And that's why master teachers are important. To pass it down. You know, we dealing in a time where we've been disconnected for 2,000 years. Don't know nothing. Right? You don't know what to believe. Look at this. Records of the Essene way of life have come down to us from the writings of their contemporaries. Pliny, the Roman naturalist, Philo, the Alexandrian philosopher, Josephus, the Roman historian, Solanius, and others spoke of them variously as a race by themselves, more remarkable than any other in the world. The oldest of the initiates receiving their teaching from Central Asia, teaching perpetuated through an immense space of ages, constant and unalterable holiness. Central Asia, huh? Look at this. Some of the outer teaching is preserved in Aramaic texts in the Vatican in Rome. Some in Slavic texts was found in the possession of the Habsburgs in Austria and said they've been brought out of Asia. The 13th century by Nestorian priests fleeing the hordes of Genghis Khan. Echoes of the teaching exist today in many forms, in certain rituals of the Masonic order, in the symbol of the 7-branch candlestick, that's the menorah, in the greeting, peace be with you, shalom alaikum, shalom alaikum. Right? All this is seen talk. The menorah and all that, that's a whole teaching behind it. All right, used from the time of Moses and even in the 7 days of the week, which have long since lost their original spiritual meaning. Okay, hold on. All right, look at this. Long lost its spiritual meaning from its antiquity, its persistence through the ages. It is evident the teaching could not have been the concept of any individual. Look at this, y'all. Could not have been the concept of any individual or any people, but is the interpretation by a succession of great teachers of the law of the universe, the basic law, eternal and unchanging as the stars in their courses, the same now as 2 or 10,000 years ago, and as applicable today as then. The teaching explains the law, shows how man's deviations from it are the cause of all his troubles. You done fell out with the creation or nature, right? These laws are cosmic laws and natural laws dealing with nature, heavenly laws and earthly laws that every individual can abide by. It would have to be something that is not bound to a certain orthodoxy. It would have to be something that's universal, that everyone, no matter what condition they are in or what they look like, can abide by. You understand? Figure that out and you figure out the code or the codes of conduct for what we call the kingdom of heaven. All right? Look at this. The teaching explains the law, shows how man's deviations from it are the cause of all of his troubles. And the law, y'all, is not the 613 laws you think you got in the Torah. Again, the Essenes, when they talk law, Nazarene, when they talk law, they're talking cosmic forces or cosmic laws, heavenly laws, and earthly natural laws. That every man, woman, and child can align himself. Every man, woman, and child, no matter his condition, no matter his locality, or no matter his physical description, can align himself with those forces because they're attainable to all. All right? And gives the method by which we or he can find his way out of his dilemma. Okay, so we saying that these teachings, you understand, go way back, you understand, and are found in various localities in this earth. All right, various localities in this earth. So let's go here. Gospel of the Nazarenes, chapter 6, the childhood and youth of Yahshua the Nazarene. If y'all getting some understanding so far, give me a 9 up in the chat. Bless up, bless up. Give me a 9 up in the chat. Give me 1 second, family. Bless up. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. 1 second. All right, mic check, mic check. Can I be heard? Can I be heard? Mic check. Hey, matter of fact, hold on 1 second. Let me stop the screen. All right, I'm gonna show this real quick. I want to invite the icon too. So I want to show how other prophets or other men who had the light of the Creator on them in different localities of the earth, and how they taught the basic laws that we read Yahshua was talking about in the Gospel of the Nazarenes in the beginning. They taught the same thing. You know what I mean? All right, let's never bang. Yeah, I had muted. I had to, do something real quick. Bang. All right, let me invite icon. Because we gonna show and prove what we talking about. And we seeing that even in the introduction to the Essene book 3, MINISTRIES, like, look, Zarathustra, and this stuff go back before a certain period, a certain cataclysm of a certain period, and 10,000 years ago. And I'm like, wow, according to the Hebrew chronology or the Hebrew Bible that's accepted today, or the Hebrew calendar that's accepted today, y'all, it ain't even been 6,000 years since the world was created. You know what I mean? All right, so I want to go show this. All right, we can be heard. Check the chat out. We got some Russian whores in here, huh? Dropping some porn. Man, we get them up out of here. I remember it was the Russians all them years last year, and then this year is this madness. Hide user, put user with your hide use on the channel. Get up out of here with that madness. There you go. All right, YAH'KI, I'm gonna give you the I'm gonna give you a wrench, brother. All right. I'm gonna give you a wrench. All right, so let's get to this real quick. Let's get into this real quick. Okay. Sure. All right, share screen. Entire screen. Yeah, no doubt, Aubrey. Yeah, yes, the world has been here longer than 6,000 years, man. Stop it. Stop it. That's easy. I'm gonna read some world history for y'all. Before 3761 BC, but that's according to the Hebrew chronology. Even according to brothers that only deal with the Tanakh and Torah. I'm talking about brothers, brews. They'll tell you it's the year 5782. And you're saying that it's only been 5,782 years since the world was created. Come on, man. That don't even make sense. Everybody know that don't make sense. All right. All right, so bang, bang, bang. All right. So look, let's go show this. Let's go show. Because we've been talking about that the Most High establishes witnesses in every nation. And we've seen through the histories and all that, that's what the Essene Brotherhood understood. All right, the Nazarene come out the Essene movement and branch. How do we know? Based off history, the communal living, the mobilizing in the communities, based off diet, based off teachings, and based off this literature. Yahshua was a master Essene teacher, master. So let's go show it. But so was John the Baptist. So was his brother James or Yaakov and them. Same thing. All right. Now look at this right here. Look at this. Look at this right here. Childhood and youth of Yahshua the Nazarene. Now, Joseph and Miriam, his parents, went up to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And they observed the feast or the Passover after the manner of their brethren, who abstained from bloodshed and the eating of flesh. There it is right there. For any brew that wonder if you can keep Passover without chewing on lamb loins or chewing on a lamb shoulder. There it is right there. Because the Brotherhood didn't chew on animals. The Brotherhood didn't chew on animals. Remember, we was against the bloodshed and all that. All right. So notice, and they observed the feast after the manner of their brethren, who abstained from bloodshed and the eating of flesh and from strong drink. And when he was 12 years old, Yahshua went to Jerusalem, which then with them after the custom of the feast. And as they returned, having fulfilled the days, the child Yahshua tarried behind in Jerusalem, and his parents knew not of it. But they supposing him to have been in the company when a day's journey, and they sought him among their kinsfolk and acquaintances. And when they found him not, they returned back to Jerusalem seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding. As we brought out last video, he was breaking down metaphysics, physics, astronomy, anatomy. He was breaking down the mysteries of the Torah and everything at 12. You dig? That's why they were astonished. They weren't astonished that he knew it was a left bet. That's an a left. That's a bet. That's a gemel. That's a dalet. That's a hey. That's a wah. That's a zayin. That's a kit. Nah. That wasn't that. It was because his understanding of Creator and Creator's creation was out of this world. You know what I mean? See this? And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why have you so dealt with us? Behold, your father and I have sought you sorrowing. And he said to them, How is it that you sought me? Did you not know that I must be in my parents' house? All right. Nazarene literature and the scene literature is balanced. You understand? Even the names that spell the Creator's name or the letters. Yod, Hey, Wav, Hey. Yod, Hey, Wav, Hey. 2 masculine letters, 2 feminine letters. All right. The Yod and Wav is masculine, 2 Heys are feminine. So it's balanced dealing with Creator. You know what I mean? straight balance. And Yahshua and them, they taught that, because it's impossible for you to understand, not to understand that about Creator when you study his creation and you see a balance of male and female. So Creator must be male and female. You know what I mean? That's just how the brothers looked at it and understood it. And they understood not the saying which he spoke to them, but his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. And a certain prophet seeing him said to him, behold, the love and the wisdom of the Most High are one in thee. Therefore, in the age to come shall you be called Yahshua HaMashiach, the Messiah. For by the Messiah shall the Creator save mankind, which now is verily, I hate when that happens. All right. Bitterness of the sea, but it shall yet be turned into sweetness. But to this generation, the bride shall not be manifest, nor yet in the age to come. And he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject to their guidance. And he made wheels and yokes and tables also with great skill. And Yahshua increased in stature and in favor with the Creator and man. Now, on a certain day, the child Yahshua came to a place where a trap was set for birds. And there were some boys there. And Yahshua said to them, who has set this trap for the innocent creatures of the earth? Behold, in a snare shall they in like manner be caught. And he beheld 12 sparrows as if they were dead. And he moved his hands over them and said to them, go fly away. And while you live, remember me. And they arose and fled away, making a noise. And the people seeing this were astonished and told it to the priests. And other wonders did the child, and flowers were seen to spring up beneath his feet, where there had been nothing but barren ground before. And his companions stood in awe of him. A certain day after this, the child Yahshua was playing with his companions, younger than himself, and they gathered around him and chose him as their king. And as he sat, they twined an olive branch with flowers and made it into a crown. And they placed it on his head and a reed in his hand for a scepter. And they made obeisance to him, saying, hail, King of Israel. And he said to them, hold your peace. You know not what you say. Tell it not to anyone. Such words are not for you to proclaim, but for them to whom it shall be given. And they marveled. One passed and heard it, and he said, yes, truly, you have chosen wisely, for he is a comely child of great nobility. All right, hold on. Get to the next one. Get to the next one. Oh, shit. Look at this. Look at this. Then in his 13th year, when an Israelite should take a wife, the house of his parents became a place for seekers who desired that they should gain him through marriage. Yahshua being already known throughout the lands for his clarity in the word of the Creator. Yahshua then also came to the temple to fulfill his place among them and grow strong with the law. And those teaching in the temple saw his grace and wisdom and sought counsel with his parents that he should travel afar. Hold on. At 13, y'all, when it's time to get married, Yahshua would travel afar. He should travel afar with a noble one. One visiting the temple had heard Yahshua speak with the authority of one who knows. So it was that for several years, he, Yahshua, traveled in India and other holy places, and they loved him as he taught the holy scriptures. And Yahshua went into the desert, meditated and fasted and prayed, and obtained the power of the holy name, by which he worked many miraculous deeds. Yeah, Yahshua was high level. The scenes in them was high level. You see this? Look at this. And in the 18th year of his age, Yahshua returned. So from 13 to 18, he was traveling throughout the world. You understand? Praying, meditating, teaching. You dig? Then he 18, guess what? He returns to his homeland and was espoused to Miriam, a virgin of the tribe of Yehudah. And after several years, Yahshua journeyed with his brother Yaakov, down into Egypt, that they might learn the wisdom of the Egyptians, even as Moses did. But trip off this, y'all. What we went over earlier shows that brotherhoods of light were established. You feel me? In communities around India, Egypt, Tibet. You see that? Brotherhoods of light and their teachings were already in the earth by the time Yahshua became a master Essene. Yeah, look at this. And they went into the Holy Lands and conversed with the Most High face to face and traveled learning the languages of birds and beasts, the healing powers of trees, herbs, and flowers. Huh? Yeah, master healer. Dealing with the botanicals and the hidden secrets of precious stones. Master healer. Dealing with the crystals and the stones everybody deal with today. You swear there's so much witchcraft in it. I see this. And they learned the motions of the sun into astronomy. So into botanicals, into the crystals and stones, into astronomy. Egypt, India, China, Tibet, Greece. Where we at? What we talking about? And they learned the motions of the sun, the moon, and the stars, the powers of the letters, and mysteries of the square. Hold on. The mysteries of the square and the circle. Yeah, I'm telling you, that square compass, all that, like, they still in all Essene, Nazarene. They still in all the knowledge of the ancient faiths. You understand? Initiation, rites of passage, hand gestures. You dig? Secrets of creation, mysteries of the square and the circle, and the transmutation of things. Wow. Of forms and numbers and signs. Then being filled, they returned to Nazareth to visit their parents. And for a time, they taught in Jerusalem. Then one came to Yahshua saying, Miriam, your wife is ill, even unto death. And as he approached, he departed from among the living. Right here. I had that player. He was distraught and grieved that he could not seek her further, for it was not yet his time to awaken sleeping again unto the body. So that, he's at 18, his fiance died, fell ill and died. He was distraught about it, that he couldn't, return or recall her soul or her spirit to her body. But it wasn't his time yet. But this came to pass that he may go on to the higher things that he must do. Yahshua then departed at once and went again into India and Tibet, throughout Persia, Assyria, the land of the Chaldeans, Greece, and Egypt. Y'all, we just read all that in the introduction to the Essene literature. He visited their temples and conversed with their priests and their wise men for many years, doing many wonderful works. Look at this. Look at this. But understand, there's already brotherhoods established. I see that? Brotherhoods are already established. So when they travel to these places, they're going to deal with the brotherhood, because the brotherhoods that's established in these communities, already have the light of the Creator dwelling with them. You understand? They were dealing with the same teachings. All right. And the beasts of the field had respect unto him, and the birds of the air were not in fear of him, for he made them not afraid. Even the wild beasts of the desert perceived the power of the Almighty in him and did him service, bearing him from place to place. Now see this? For the spirit of divine humanity filling him filled all things around him and made all things subject to him. And thus shall yet be fulfilled the words of the prophets. The lion shall lie down with the calf. Watch out. The lion shall lie down with the calf, and the leopard with the kid, and the wolf with the lamb, and the bird with the ass, and the owl with the dove, and a child shall lead them. And none shall hurt or destroy in my holy mountain. And none shall hurt or destroy in my holy mountain. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Most High, even as the waters cover the bed of the sea. And in that day I will make again a covenant with the beasts of the earth and the fowls of the air and the fish of the sea, and with all created things. And I will break the bow and the sword and all the instruments of warfare will I banish from the earth. And will make them to lie down in safety and to live without fear. And I will join thee to me forever in righteousness and in peace and in loving kindness. And you shall know your creator. And you shall know your creator. And the earth shall bring forth the corn and the wine and the oil. And I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people. And they shall say unto me, thou art our deliverer. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Now look at this. And on a certain day, as he was passing by a mountainside near the desert, there met he a lion, and many men were pursuing him with stones and javelins to slay him. But Yahshua rebuked them, saying, why do you hunt creatures which are more noble than you? By the cruelties of many generations, they were made the enemies of man, who should have been his friends. But the power of the Almighty is shown in them, so also is shown his long suffering and compassion. Cease to persecute this creature who desires not to harm you. See how he flees. See how he flees from you. See how he flees from you and is terrified by your violence. And the lion came and laid at the feet of Yahshua and showed love to him. And the people were astonished and said, this man loves all creatures and has power to command even these beasts from the desert, and they obey him. Now, all the while Yahshua was abroad, his brother Yaakov, James, and his cousin Yahuchanan, John, were of a purpose to amass and teach the way. The way. That's the way of this thing. It's called the way. That's the name of it. To a growing number of followers, each of their own. Yaakov, James being in and around Jerusalem, and John, Yahuchanan, all around and about the outlying and surrounding areas of Judea. But I went there to show y'all that in their childhood, specifically Messiah, in his youth, between 12 and 18, and even after that, right? We got Persia, we got India, we got Greece, we got Tibet. You understand? We got Chaldea, conversing with priests, chopping it up, learning. You feel me? Learning how to heal through botanicals, stones, and spirit, crystals and spirit. You feel me? Hold on. Hold on. You know what I mean? So that's what we see happening. That's what we see happening right now. Let me stop this. Okay. Oh, wait. Houston, we got a problem. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. And what you say, your mind, creatures more noble than us, huh? Wow, man. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, Dave, I want to show that based off the Essene Nazarene literature, the Nazarene Essene literature, excuse me. Based off the Nazarene Essene literature, or the Essene Nazarene literature, Yahshua, Yahuchanan, the Immerser, and Yaakov HaSedek were all a part of a worldwide brotherhood. You understand? That were established in communities in the wilderness of all these localities around the earth, where high levels of spirituality were going on. They lived in communities amongst themselves, established their own economy. You understand? We're dealing with scientists, what the healers. You had to go holler at them to get yourself together. You see what I'm saying? But they stick by a specific code. And that's basically what it is. And this line of light has been established, and that's how the creator gets down. Whenever there's darkness in his creation, he has to establish a line of light. Somebody has to bear witness to what the creator commands. You see what I'm saying? And I want to show that it was brothers establishing all these brotherhoods around. You understand? Way before Yahshua was even in the earth, prophesying, You understand? Healing, masters in astronomy, anatomy, botanicals, crystals, all of it. Spiritual matters, invoking spirit, angel communion. There was masters at all of it. Literature, studying, whatever you was talking about. Whatever you're talking about. These was some high-level brothers, you understand? From the Israelite perspective of world history, those are the Essenes. You understand? But in Egypt, they were the therapists, the therapeutic. You know, over in Persian India, they were something else, but we all had the same code. It's the Brotherhood of Light. You see what I'm saying? Body is full of crystals. That's right, big dog. Peace to the God, Kiani Yahshua, my beloved brother. Bless up, King. How you be? Bless up, how you be? All right. Now, let me show y'all something, too, because we were dealing with the calendar earlier. All right. What time is it? Hey, Cosmo and Cal, either you or C-Lie, y'all wanna come on real quick? I want y'all to read the doctrine of one of the Indian, because we see Yahshua was in India, Persia, Tibet. They bring up Zarathustra. Maybe y'all can come on and read the doctrine of Zarathustra. Like what was he teaching? Real quick, because he mentioned in the Essene literature. Dig, or maybe Capilla or something. Dig, but because see if y'all brother, one of y'all come on. I just in fact, let me know you can come on too, Cal P. I love for the people to peep. You dig? To peep or come watch this coming to fruition, how we established that the Creator's light was in different localities in this earth. We established that. We established that this line of light was established way before Messiah even became a master at Saint. We established that these brothers were traveling all over the world to all these religious centers, but dealing with the brotherhoods in these religious centers. You understand? But they all live by a certain code. All right? They all live by a certain code. You feel me? So, in other words, when Abraham was in the earth, in his locality, getting it in, they had established other lines of light in the earth, dealing with like those in China, and then at the same time dealing with those in India. You see what I'm saying? See, and from our perspective as Israelites, we forget the world history perspective. Well, what else was going on? You understand? Abraham was over here in Egypt and Israel and Canaan. Well, what about in China, where it was a lot of wickedness going on? Who was raising them up? What about in India? Who was raising them up? You feel me? You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's not just exclusive to us, because the Brotherhood of Light had been established going all the way back to Enoch, or going all the way back to the beginning. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Remember, I said he glad to made the lie. That was up. That was up. We're just showing the whole universality of truth. All right. Yeah, he was called Isa in India. Absolutely. Yahweh in the building. Bless up. Bless up. I see y'all. Let me see if I can get one of these bros on here. I would love for them to go over. Because we read Yahshua's commands and his doctrine out the Nazarene gospel earlier. Right? And we read in the Essene and Nazarene literature how the same teachings were taught abroad in different localities, from China, Tibet, Persia, India, Egypt, Greece, all over. And we see that the bros was traveling. All right. So it makes sense that they would be traveling and going to the brotherhoods of light in these areas and getting it in. You know what I mean? And getting it in. Let me see one of them bros come on just real quick and see if we can chop it on up for a second. Give me a second. Yeah, y'all know how it is. Short leggers. Short leggers. Let me see something, man. Let me see. I get one of the bros on real quick. Let's see. So I'm about to pull a drive-by like Sinetta. I'm about to pull a drive-by like Sinetta on either Cosmo and Cal or C-Lot. Let me see. See if they pick up. See what's going on. This is the perfect time to read. We read about Zarathustra in the beginning. You know, I'm pulling the drive by on like Sinetta YAH'KI. Let me see if he's gonna pick the phone up. If not, I'm gonna get Cosmo and Cal on. See if he pick the phone up for a brother. C-Law may be busy. Let me see.
Peace to the God.
Peace to the God. C-Law Shalom. What's the word, King?
I'm sitting up here listening to the joint. I hear y'all. I'm like, damn, son.
Yeah.
I'm over here in the middle of goddamn brewing some tea, get some orders of the goddamn mix.
Oh, is you? Okay. Yeah, I was trying to see one of y'all could read about a Kepha or something real quick, or Zarathustra. Because we see Zarathustra was brought up in the Essene literature earlier. You know what I mean? Read about his like his commands or his doctrine, what he was teaching, and how it's similar to what Yahshua was teaching. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Yep.
Shit, if you want to finish, man, I'm damn sure goddamn report. I ain't got no problem with that shit.
All right, bet. I'm gonna hit back. Let me call Cal P, see if he ain't busy or something. But if not, we'll do it another time, man. I'd love to get y'all on and we can talk about because I'm establishing. Yeah, I'm establishing. The Creator establishes lines of light in different localities throughout the earth in all ages. You know what I mean? So.
Exactly, because I heard when you just said that.
Yeah.
You said how he established it in Persia, he established it in India, but it's the same code. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm goddamn listening, paying attention when I'm doing this shit, bro. I'm top. I'm all in. You still on?
Yeah, I'm still on. So what I'm about to do, I'm about to call Cal P real quick, see if he can pick up and read that.
As soon as I finish up, I'm gonna hit you. See if you still on or whatever.
All right, hit my line, Hebrew. Most High be with you, bro. Bless him. All right, bless him. I try to get one of these bros on here real quick. Get one of the bros on her, and let's read about one of these great men who had this line of light on from the Creator, you dig, during this certain period of time. And it would make sense that Yahshua and John the Baptist and James, they would travel and stay amongst the Brotherhood. You know what I mean? So the line of light wasn't just in and around Israel. You know what I mean? Cal P, Cosmon Cal, what's the word, King? How you be? Cal P.
What's going on, my guy?
Hey, bro, I'm doing a drive-by on you like Sinetta be doing on the Hebrews. I'm doing a drive-by on you and C-Lot, man. What's good?
What's going on, my guy?
Hey, I want you to, if you can, I don't know if you're busy right now. I'm establishing the day that the Creator has established lines of light in different localities of the earth. And that around Israel and Canaan, it was the Essenes, but over in Egypt, it was the therapists. You got them in India, China, it's all brotherhoods of light. You dig? So the name of the class today is The Most High has raised up many witnesses in every nation. You dig? So I was calling to see, because in the Essene literature today, we read about Zarathustra. So I was calling to see if either you or C-Law could get on, come on the live real quick and read about the doctrine that either Kepha or Zarathustra taught, like the commands they taught. You know what I mean? Let me know. I'm on right now. I'm trying to see you come on right now. Jack, what you mean?
Shit, I got my damn books in the trunk. Hold on.
Hey. If you can't look, C-Law tied up right now too, but I would love to get you brothers on, because I've already established that in different localities of the earth, the Creator has raised up many witnesses. So later on today, or maybe tomorrow, I would love to have you brothers on, and let's talk about some of these famous prophets that the Creator raised up and what they taught. You know what I mean?
I didn't notice that they got Zarathustra in the Essene literature.
Yeah, I read it today. I said, oh, so they talk. He's mentioned like as one that the Creator was dealing with 10,000, 11,000 years ago, but they don't teach. They're not saying Zarathustra taught this. It's just saying, now they're saying he did teach it, but his sayings are not in there, but they saying he taught this thousands of years ago. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would love for you brothers, all three of us, to get on and then we can, and y'all can go through the history of Zarathustra, what he taught, Capilla, all them, and show how it's similar. It's the same as what Yahshua was teaching. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, and then that'll bring everything full circle. You dig, based off the title of the lesson. The lesson is the Most High has raised up witnesses in every nation. So now that we showed that he had the line of light in every nation based off the Essene Nazarene literature, and we showed that Yahshua traveled to these places, you know what I mean, and chopped it up with them. Now it's time to show how those teachings got in those places before Yahshua even came into earth. You know what I mean?
And Yahshua, they credit Apollonis of Tyana with going to get the doctrines that are supposed to be delivered under Paul. We also find that out of India, but we also find that Yahshua went to India and studied the Christos ideology, and was and that's in the Nazarene text that he went into India and got that text, and then they also try to apply that to Apollonis, but even so, it's over 200 years apart between them, and Yahshua had it first. Yeah,
so look, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know what y'all brothers doing later on. Maybe tomorrow will be a good time, but let's get on, because we showing the brotherhood of light all over the earth. So no man can brag and say truth only belong to me. We see it, and we see the brothers traveling to the other brotherhoods in different countries, still getting it in, right?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So now it's time to bring out the history on how those teachings got into those localities. You did. So, hey, hit me up when you get done, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and get off live real quick. Hit me up when you get done, and if y'all want, let's get together either later on today or tomorrow. Let's bring it. That'll be powerful. That'll be powerful, brother.
I'm in the garden right now. Let's set it up for sometime this evening and go ahead and knock that out, man. We might as well start linking in on each other's channels anyway to get that synergy going, nigga, because we about to be the new triune God. Malaki, Jesus, and Luamon, nigga, we about to let down this new line of life, bro.
Got you, right?
Do ours right.
All right, so bet I'm gonna holler when I get off the live, man. Let's do that. I think that'll be very, very powerful. You understand? So we already established it. The light is in the other localities, and we got Messiah and all them traveling, doing the same thing. So now it's time to bring that all the way home. You dig? And we read Zarathustra in the Essene literature today. They brought him up by name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah. So let's go ahead and get that done, bro. Holler at me when you get done.
Okay, then, my guy.
All right, shalom. YAH'KI. Yeah, I gotta give you. I don't know how to give you the wrench while I'm on. I'm gonna have to give it to you as soon as I get off. As soon as I get off, I'm gonna have to give it to you. All right. Here, I want to show this one. I'm gonna show this real quick. Hold on. Hey. Yeah, also it says something about the pan or pond, which we know is the, if y'all Google the Ring of Fire in the Pacific Ocean, yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But if you Google that, all right, it'll blow your mind what you can see in real time. You understand? And then try to wrap your head around, that's a continent under there, sunk. You did. That's a continent. You did. All praises, glory, now to the Most High. All right. So, brothers, Cosmo and Cal and Sheila say, they busy right now handling business. Salute them, brothers. And then hopefully later on this evening we can go ahead and bring this out. You did, because to me the history is interesting. It's very, very interesting that it was brotherhoods all over this earth in different localities that had the light of the Creator that was established, and they all rocked the same way. You know what I mean? They only dealt with the Creator. They wasn't into the slavery, no king over them, no queen. They wasn't into animal sandwiches, no sacrifices. They was in heavy communication with the spiritual realm. They understood botany. They understood anatomy. They understood astronomy. They were your healers. They were your doctors. They were all that. And that's the brotherhood. That's the movement that the apostles come up out of. They lived in communities, had all things in common, shared everything. They abhorred extreme poverty and excess riches. You see? They only ate the fruits and the veggies. These brothers got down, but it wasn't just them. Around the Judean wilderness, you got bros over in Persia, bros over in India, bros in China, bros down in Egypt, bros up in Greece that lived by this ancient order, this ancient way. You understand? And it was getting it in way before even Yahshua became a master teacher. Oh, wait. So I'm going to give you the wrench, YAH'KI as soon as we get done. Also, remember earlier when we started, I shared the fact that according to the Hebrew history or Hebrew chronology, share this with y'all. All right, I just Googled it. I just typed in Google Hebrew calendar, creation, year, and origin. Look at this. Look at this. Somebody playing with our perception. The starting point of Hebrew chronology is the year 3761 BC. That ain't even 6,000 years ago. The date of the creation of the world as described in the Old Testament. That's the creation of the world. That ain't even Adam. That ain't even 6,000 years ago. But according to the Hebrew scholars, it did. And we argue all day about the Hebrew calendar. What the moon, do we follow the moon? Do we follow the sun? What day is the Passover, the feast days, and all that? Y'all, look, but we never ask ourselves, what year is it? 3761 BC, the date of the creation of the world as described in the Old Testament. The Jewish calendar is lunisolar, based on lunar months, 29 days. Alternating with 30 days, an extra month is intercalculated every 3 years based on a cycle of 19 years. So according to the scholars, Hebrew history, the Hebrew calendar, every calendar come with a year date. Come on, man. The world was created in 3761 BC. Y'all ain't even 6,000 years ago. See that? Now watch this. Watch this. Just something we got to have a conversation about, because our perception of world history is off. Why? How are we prophesying and time is off? There is no prophesying without time. Impossible. Prophecy is about a certain thing happening at a certain time, right? Now watch this right here. All right, so you just go to Wikipedia, and this stuff's simple. I ain't even go to Google Scholar and then type in Hebrew calendar, and you get all the way down. Look at this. This is the year you in. All right. AM, I think it's Anno Mundi. It means, since creation, basically. The year 5782 began at sunset on September 6, 2021, and will end at sunset on 25th of September, 2022. We about 5 to 6 weeks away from it being the year 5783. Y'all see that? We arguing over the calendar, and we ain't even addressing the elephant in the room. What year is it? Well, according to the Hebrew calendar or chronology, y'all's only the year 5782 for the next 5 weeks. It ain't even been 6,000 years. Now watch this. Watch this. World timeline. 12,000 to 4,001 BC. I put it in the chat so y'all can have that too. Just something to think about. All right. The world is much older, man. There's a lot more, you got to push them events back. Got to push a lot of events back, man. What you mean? Because if the world was created in 3761, when the flood happened? When the flood happened? Now watch this. Now they're keeping time before then, Cornell. You got the Sumerians and all that, cuneiform. So that's the world history timeline. All right, 12,000 BC. This was going on. The epoch by geologists as the Pleistocene has ended. We read earlier about that. cataclysm of the Pleistocene period or age. 12,000 BC. The HALAKINI epoch begins to today, with the exception crossing a body of water to get to New Guinea and Australia. They have arrived in places by walking. 11,000 BC, stone spearheads and human DNA found in Oregon. Caves will indicate that at least two cultures with distinct technology shared the continent more than 13,000 years ago. New York Times, July 12, 2012. 10,900 BCE, comet debris smashed in North America, according to theory. It reversed the Ice Age thaw, and the recooling killed mammals such as saber-toothed tiger, dire wolf, and woolly mammoth. Okay. And as you keep going, all this was going on in the world, y'all, before 8,000 BC, hunter-gatherers. 7,000 BC, in the Fertile Crescent, people are farming and raising animals. Remember, how is that possible when man or the world wasn't created in 3761? We over 3,000 years before the Bible even starts. Look at this. Let's go down to 6,000 BC. Farmers from the Near East arrive in Europe and transform the genetic landscape of Europe. Growing crops and domesticating animals have begun in southern and eastern Europe, including Greece. 5,500 BC, people in China were planting seeds. Hold on, y'all. We still 2,000 years before the creation of the world. It's not adding up. Something is off. Something is off. All right. 4,000 BC. Remember, you weren't even created then. 4,100 BC. Y-DNA haplogroup E1b, that's you bros, bless up, suggests migrations have occurred or will occur from North Africa to Sicily. All right, to the northwest of the Iberian Peninsula, from Sicily to the Italian Peninsula and the Balkans. By the 21st century, from 5 to 10% of Germans will share this DNA from North Africa. Y'all hear this? And the world ain't even created. And you got to ask yourself, when was the flood? The flood had to have been before all this. The flood had to precede 12,000 BC. Where's the flood? Where's the flood? When does the flood happen? And it did happen. I'm not the one to say it didn't. It did happen. But when did it? They're playing with the timeline, man. Playing with our perception. And look, that's just 4,100 BC. But according to the biblical timeline, you understand? The world ain't even created yet. All right? 4,000 BC, the wooden plow was being used in Central Europe. How? When Adam wasn't even created yet. Agriculture has spread to what today is Britain and Ireland. All right. So according to the biblical timeline, the world was created a little bit before this 3,600 right here. All right, look what's happening during that time. In Southwest Asia, copper is being mixed with tin to produce a metal harder than copper, bronze. Around this time, the Sumerians create a system of writing that is for enumerating and counting. That's in 3600 BC. Come on, y'all. Something ain't adding up. You know what I mean? So just something thought-provoking. You know what I mean? Flood did happen, but it must have happened way before. You understand? Ain't no way in the world you got the flood and the world created in 3761 before the Common Era. So that means the flood happened around 2000 BCE. But that's when Abraham and all them was, pyramids were standing in. You dig? So it's just something to think about. All praise. All praise. Something to think about. Look at it. You dig? Matter of fact, I'm gonna post a video again. In fact, I'll start watching it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play some more of that and let it ride out. You dig? Good to see y'all in the building. Love all y'all in deed and truth. You understand? And keep challenging and keep growing. That's all it's about. Look, I understand, bro. I'm saying I done tried to put it all together. The timeline is too short. There's a bigger timeline. You know what I'm saying? I'm never saying that we don't exist or we wasn't in Egypt. or wasn't no flood. There ain't no Abraham, Moses, and I ain't saying none of that. I'm saying that man came up with this timeline, this calendar. You understand? They should think to change times and laws, and through that has tampered with our perception. Time is off. Time got to be way longer than that. Way longer than that. You can't bunch all that together. You know what I mean? There's too much history to bunch between 3761 and the flood in 2000. How you going to bunch all that world history into that? You know what I mean? It don't even make sense. So the timeline, you know what I mean? Those who have studied the timeline or produced this timeline, you understand? That's off. Right? Now, watch this. Watch this. Bang, bang, bang. We're going to ride on out. We're going to ride this on out. Bless up, family. Bless up, bless up. All right, Hillel II and the Sabbath Saturday deception. We're going to end with that. All right. Let's see you brothers and sisters. Bless up.
The Saturday Swindle, Part 2. In the 4th century CE, the ancient Sabbath was supplanted by Saturday through a change in calendars. The true Sabbath of Scripture was lost. Hillel II, the priestly politician. Constantine the Great, emperor of the Roman Imperium, united pagans and Christians by exalting Sunday as a day of worship for them both. He shifted the memorial of the Savior's death from being commemorated at Passover on the biblical calendar to celebrating Easter Sunday on the Julian calendar. Constantine's son, Constantius, went one step further. He outlawed the use of the biblical calendar for Jews as well. In subsequent years, the Jews went through iron and fire. The Christian emperors forbade the Jewish computation of the calendar and did not allow the announcement of the feast days. Graetz says, the Jewish communities were left in utter doubt concerning the most important religious decisions as pertaining to their festivals. The immediate consequence was the fixation and calculation of the Hebrew calendar by Hillel II. As Constantine was the power behind an action that ultimately led to the loss of the biblical calendar for use by Christians, so another man, a Jew, was responsible for a reaction producing consequences just as far-reaching. Hillel II, the president of the Sanhedrin, adapted the annual feasts to the Julian calendar. He also transferred worship from the biblical Sabbath to the Saturday of the planetary week. Prior to the destruction of Jerusalem, the high priest had been in charge of the calendar, while the Sanhedrin, rabbinical Supreme Court, presided in Jerusalem. There was no set calendar. They would evaluate every year to determine whether it should be declared a leap year. This task fell to the president of the Sanhedrin, when the priesthood was no more. Under the reign of Constantius, 337 to 362 CE, the persecutions of the Jews reached such a height that the computation of the calendar was forbidden under pain of severe punishment. In reaction to this situation, Hillel II, in 359 CE, took the extraordinary step of modifying the ancient biblical calendar that Jews and Christians might more easily coexist. Declaring the new month by observation of the new moon and the new year by the arrival of spring can only be done by the Sanhedrin. In the time of Hillel II, the last president of the Sanhedrin, the Romans prohibited this practice. Hillel II was therefore forced to institute his fixed calendar, thus in effect giving the Sanhedrin's advance approval to the calendars of all future years. With Hillel's new calendar system, distant communities would no longer have to wait for messengers from the president of the Sanhedrin to know when a new month had started. Each community would be able to determine for themselves when a new month began and when a 13th month was to be added. When Hillel II fixed the calendar, he incorporated leap years on a permanent basis. It is possible, but not provable, that this particular cycle of leap years was used and understood prior to Hillel, as it follows the 19-year Metonic cycle. Hillel based his calendar on mathematical and astronomical calculations rather than observations. This calendar, still in use, standardized the length of months and the addition of months over the course of a 19-year cycle so that the lunar calendar realigns with the solar years. Hillel declared a 13th month to be intercalated in the 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th, and the 19th years of the 19-year cycle. But Hillel did more than make known a 19-year cycle of intercalations that was, in all probability, used all along. He also transferred the observance of the ancient Sabbath from the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th days of the lunar month to every Saturday of the Julian months. This change necessitated another: rules of postponement. Rules of postponement are a set of regulations for controlling when the new moon can be declared. Under certain conditions, the rules of postponement delay the declaration of new moon for an additional day. These rules of postponement are: 1. The Jewish New Year, Feast of Trumpets, may not fall on Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday. 2. If the new moon, or molad, for the 7th month falls on Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday, the new moon is postponed until the following day. 3. If the molad of the 7th month in a common year occurs on Tuesday at 3 a.m. and 2:04/1080 parts or later, the new moon is postponed until Thursday. 4. In a common year following a leap year, if the molad of the 7th month occurs after 9 a.m. and 589 over 1080 parts on a Monday morning, new moon is postponed until Tuesday. The change of the weekly Sabbath from the lunisolar calendar to Saturday is clearly implied by the needed rules of postponement which, prior to Hillel's fixing of the calendar, had been unnecessary. According to the Jews themselves, the new moon is still, and the Sabbath originally was, dependent upon the lunar cycle. When both the Sabbath and the annual feasts are calculated on the lunisolar calendar, rules of postponement are unnecessary. It is only when the yearly feasts are calculated by one calendar and the weekly Sabbath is calculated by yet another, there are conflicts requiring rules of postponement. Without the rules of postponement, the annual feasts come into conflict with Saturday. For example, if Feast of Trumpets, new moon for the 7th month, were to fall on a Sunday, the last day of Feast of Tabernacles would fall on a Saturday. This would conflict with the traditional observance for the last day of the feast. Hence the need for the first and second rules of postponement. The third rule of postponement ensures the common year in question would not be longer than 355 days. The fourth rule of postponement guarantees a common year following a leap year is not shorter than 383 days. This fixed calendar is highly regimented. There are exactly 14 different patterns that the Hebrew calendar year may take, distinguished by the length of the year and the day of the week on which Rosh Hashanah falls. Because the rules are complex, a pattern can repeat itself several times in the course of a few years and then not recur again for a long time. Ancestors had been so jealous and solicitous. On the Julian calendar, Constantine's son, Constantius, went one step further. He outlawed the use of the biblical calendar for Jews as well. In subsequent years, the Jews went through iron and fire. The Christian emperors forbade the Jewish computation of the calendar and did not allow the announcement of the feast days. Gratz says, the Jewish communities were left in utter doubt concerning the most important religious decisions as pertaining to their festivals. The immediate consequence was the fixation and calculation of the Hebrew calendar by Hillel II. As Constantine was the power behind an action that ultimately led to the loss of the biblical calendar for use by Christians, so another man, a Jew, was responsible for a reaction producing consequences just as far-reaching. Hillel II, the president of the Sanhedrin, adapted the annual feasts to the Julian calendar. He also transferred worship from the biblical Sabbath to the Saturday of the planetary week. Prior to the destruction of Jerusalem, the high priest had been in charge of the calendar, while the Sanhedrin, rabbinical Supreme Court, presided in Jerusalem. There was no set calendar. They would evaluate every year to determine whether it should be declared a leap year. This task fell to the president of the Sanhedrin when the priesthood was no more. Under the reign of Constantius, 337 to 362 CE, the persecutions of the Jews reached such a height that the computation of the calendar was forbidden under pain of severe punishment. In reaction to this situation, Hillel II, in 359 CE, took the extraordinary step of modifying the ancient biblical calendar that Jews and Christians might more easily coexist. Declaring the new month by observation of the new moon and the new year by the arrival of spring can only be done by the Sanhedrin. In the time of Hillel II, the last president of the Sanhedrin, the Romans prohibited this practice. Hillel II was therefore forced to institute his fixed calendar, thus in effect giving the Sanhedrin's advance approval to the calendars of all future years. With Hillel's new calendar system, distant communities would no longer have to wait for messengers from the president of the Sanhedrin to know when a new month had started. Each community would be able to determine for themselves when a new month began and when a 13th month was to be added. When Hillel II fixed the calendar, he incorporated leap years on a permanent basis. It is possible, but not provable, that this particular cycle of leap years was used and understood prior to Hillel, as it follows the 19-year Metonic cycle. Hillel based his calendar on mathematical and astronomical calculations rather than observations. This calendar, still in use, standardized the length of months and the addition of months over the course of a 19-year cycle so that the lunar calendar realigns with the solar years. Hillel declared a 13th month to be intercalated in the 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th, and the 19th years of the 19-year cycle. But Hillel did more than make known a 19-year cycle of intercalations that was, in all probability, used all along. He also transferred the observance of the ancient Sabbath from the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th days of the lunar month to every Saturday of the Julian months. This change necessitated another: rules of postponement. Rules of postponement are a set of regulations for controlling when the new moon can be declared. Under certain conditions, the rules of postponement delay the declaration of new moon for an additional day. These rules of postponement are: 1. The Jewish New Year, Feast of Trumpets, may not fall on Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday. 2. If the new moon, or molad, for the 7th month falls on Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday, the new moon is postponed until the following day. 3. If the molad of the 7th month in a common year occurs on Tuesday at 3 a.m. and 2:04/1080 parts or later, the new moon is postponed until Thursday. 4. In a common year following a leap year, if the molad of the 7th month occurs after 9 a.m. and 589/1080 parts on a Monday morning, new moon is postponed until Tuesday. The change of the weekly Sabbath from the lunisolar calendar to Saturday is clearly implied by the needed rules of postponement which, prior to Hillel's fixing of the calendar, had been unnecessary. According to the Jews themselves, the new moon is still, and the Sabbath originally was, dependent upon the lunar cycle. When both the Sabbath and the annual feasts are calculated on the lunisolar calendar, rules of postponement are unnecessary. It is only when the yearly feasts are calculated by one calendar and the weekly Sabbath is calculated by yet another, there are conflicts requiring rules of postponement. Without the rules of postponement, the annual feasts come into conflict with Saturday. For example, if Feast of Trumpets, new moon for the 7th month, were to fall on a Sunday, the last day of Feast of Tabernacles would fall on a Saturday. This would conflict with the traditional observance for the last day of the feast. Hence the need for the first and second rules of postponement. The third rule of postponement ensures the common year in question would not be longer than 355 days. The fourth rule of postponement guarantees a common year following a leap year is not shorter than 383 days. This fixed calendar is highly regimented. There are exactly 14 different patterns that the Hebrew calendar year may take, distinguished by the length of the year and the day of the week on which Rosh Hashanah falls. Because the rules are complex, a pattern can repeat itself several times in the course of a few years and then not recur again for a long time. But the Jewish calendar is known to be extremely accurate. It does not lose or gain time as some other calendars do. This was an act of survival by Hillel II. It was made in response to the brutal persecutions of Constantine's son Constantius. With his own hand, the patriarch destroyed the last bond which united the communities dispersed throughout the Roman and Persian empires with the patriarchate. He was more concerned for the certainty of the continuance of Judaism than for the dignity of his own house, and therefore abandoned those functions for which his ancestors had been so jealous and solicitous. The members of the Sanhedrin favored this innovation. When Hillel II fixed the calendar, he effectually gave permission to the Jews to worship on Saturday for all future time. Only he, as president of the Sanhedrin, could do this. Today, over 1600 years later, the action of Constantine and its resulting reaction by Hillel II are still impacting hundreds of millions of people around the world. Because of these two men, 1. Catholics worship on Sunday in honor of the resurrection. This is in accordance with the Act of Constantine, which changed the observance from a luni-solar calculated Passover to the pagan solar calculated Easter. 2. Jews worship on Saturday because Talmudic law justifies the act of keeping one day in 7 when one does not know when the true Sabbath falls. 3. Most Protestants join with Catholics in worshiping on Sunday, the first day of the modern Gregorian week, assuming it is the day of the resurrection. 4. Saturday Sabbath-keeping Protestants worship on Saturday because it is the 7th day of the modern week, and they assume, since the Jews worship on Saturday, it must be the biblical Sabbath. 5. Muslims, likewise, honor the pagan papal Gregorian calendar keeping by going to mosque for prayers on Friday. It is not possible to find the true seventh-day Sabbath using the modern Gregorian calendar. This solar calendar is nothing more than a pagan method of time calculation. The early Julian calendar was established by pagans for pagans. It was officially adopted for ecclesiastical use at the Council of Nicaea. It was later adjusted by Jesuit astronomer Christopher Clavius at the request of Pope Gregory XIII, hence the name Gregorian calendar. Clavius confirmed the Julian calendar, and thus the Gregorian calendar that comes from it, is founded on paganism and has no connection whatsoever to the biblical calendar. In his explanation of the Gregorian calendar, Clavius admitted when the Julian calendar was accepted as the ecclesiastical calendar of the church, the biblical calendar was rejected. The Catholic Church has never used that Jewish rite of celebrating the Passover, but always in its celebration has observed the motion of the moon and sun, and it was thus sanctified by the most ancient and most holy pontiffs of Rome, but also confirmed by the First Council of Nicaea. The most ancient and most holy pontiffs of Rome, here spoken of, refer to the pagan college of pontiffs of which Constantine, as Pontifex Maximus, was the head. Emperor Constantine desired unity. He achieved this goal through ecumenism and outlawing the use of the biblical calendar for remembering the death of Yahshua. Hillel II desired the physical survival of Judaism. He achieved his goal by compromising with paganism and modifying the biblical calendar. Constantine's action and its accompanying reaction by Hillel has led to the assumption by multitudes that Saturday is the biblical Sabbath and Sunday is the day on which the Savior was resurrected. Thus, Christians and Jews alike have calculated their worship days using pagan solar calendars, neglecting the true Sabbath of Yahweh. None who desire to worship the Creator on his holy Sabbath will calculate worship days by this abomination of desolation that dishonors Yahweh and desolates the soul. Only the lunisolar calendar of creation can pinpoint when the true Sabbath occurs. Lay aside the traditions of man. Accept only the word of Yah. And worship him by his ordained method of timekeeping.
God wants you to know that he loves you just the way you are. God loves the whole human race with unconditional love. God's not looking for opportunities to give you a set of religious rules that would make your life unpleasant, but instead, God's looking